Hello, and welcome to another session of Recent Thoughts. My name is MiMo, and this is another midweek recording. This is a new recording, and it has to do with another question from the community. This time, Linus asks, or generally asks, about the topic of growing up. And I feel like I have a couple of things to say about that topic that people might relate to, so I feel like this is gonna be a good episode. As always, you are free to put me in the background and just do your normal thing. This is a podcast of me just rambling about stuff for about 15 minutes. Now, I do have my clock, my timer turned on, and we should be starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Right. On the general topic of growing up, obviously you can expect change to happen, right? I would say I would kind of, differentiate between growing up mentally and growing up physically, because it's not always the same thing. I would start with growing up physically and then go into growing up mentally, because I have a couple more thoughts about mentally than physically. I don't actually know where to start from this. I would say about puberty wise to adult wise. I am currently in the midst of growing up, I would say already at an end. I think I've already overcome my puberty. I am currently 20 years old. And at this time and place, nothing really changes significantly anymore. I remember when I was about 13 to 15, 16, somewhere in that time span, I can remember my fucking feet growing a ton. I had to change my shoes about every like half a year or something. And then there's obviously, for boys, obviously the growth boost. I don't know exactly what I went from, but I was a small kid. I was, small for my kind. Russians, slash Germans were very tall. But I went from, I think, about 1 meter 50 centimeters to a good 193 right now. As of now, I'm 193 centimeters tall. And I can remember being annoyed at my growth, not because I felt like it was bad that I was growing or that my body was growing, right? But just because I had to spend, or my parents had to spend so much money on different stuff. Every year there'd be a new pair of shoes because my foot has grown 2 centimeters. Or different size in t-shirts, right? And now in my wardrobe, I still haven't sorted that out, but I have a couple of clothes that obviously don't fit me anymore, and I need to throw them away somewhere. My brother is currently also in the midst of teenagehood, so he is currently growing very rapidly. We don't have any other person to have these clothes anymore. Now in Germany, the cool thing is that we have specialized containers where we can throw in these clothes and they will get essentially donated to families in need, right? And so I'm probably gonna do that. I've never done it. I might just do it because I need to I need that space for different clothes. I'm not the kind of person to buy a lot of clothes. Mostly right now, it's polo shirts because I'm in this kind of phase of polo shirts. I really like them. And whenever I buy clothes, it's normally just the same thing. It's just the same thing in a different color. Because I don't know, maybe I'm not a person who likes change a lot. It's the same with shoes. I don't know if anybody can relate to this, right? I see so many people, right? I know a bunch of people with like 10, 15 pair of shoes, or I'm exaggerating, but you get my point. They have a shit ton of shoes. And I don't exactly understand why. Now, this could have just, had something to do with, general preference. There's people that own multiple cars just to own them and collect them, but I don't really see the significance in shoes. Maybe just because I don't like shoes as much as they do. But I've been a kid that I wore my shoes, and I still wear my shoes until imminent death. Off the shoe, obviously. Like I remember, I think I threw out my last pair of shoes about half a year ago, or maybe even less, because they had a fucking hole on the top, because I just essentially killed them, right? And then I got myself a new pair. And I remember my parents asking, do you need more? Do you need more? No, I have one pair of shoes. That should be fine. I'm not going to grow any further. And coming back to that whole sense of growth, yeah, I felt really annoyed about it. I also disliked changing my style, my outfit for a long time, because I didn't really feel the need to. And you know, there's obviously this whole thing physically about, well, for men, it's obvious, right? A lot of hair. And I'm not really comfortable talking about it, but I don't care. I have a bunch of hair on all of my fucking body. Mostly the hair I really wanted to leave was, the hair I wanted to leave on my body. There you go. It's my beard hair. I am very proud of my beard. I'm very proud that I can actually have one and that I can grow one. Most of the people can't. But I'm very, very annoyed of all the body hair that I have elsewhere, right? I mean, on the hands and on the legs, it's fine. I'm generally not very confident about back hair. And I have a lot of it. I'm planning to laser it away, let it be lasered away, whatever it's called. It's a procedure where you just laser the hair away and won't come back. Same with chest hair. It's just, yeah, for anybody that's going through puberty, be prepared. I will say that. Be prepared. And don't fucking shave it. Because if you shave it, it'll only come back stronger. It's like Hydra. Cut off one head and two more will follow, right? Yeah. I can't say anything particularly about a woman's body or anything, since I am not a woman, so I am going to refrain from saying that. If you have any experiences you wanted to talk about, post it in the comment section below. That'd be very nice. And the second half that I can talk about is me growing up mentally. And there's one particular topic that I want to talk about a lot. I don't feel like I had a choice growing up mentally. And a lot of people think they have a choice and can just stay children forever, right? I see. I remember scrolling through TikTok. By the way, I uninstalled it. It's a fucking time waster. Uninstall TikTok. I remember scrolling through a couple of TikToks, and one of them had a comment section of like being afraid to grow up, right? And then there was this one person who said, I don't want to grow up. And the reasoning was, I just want to stay a child, right? I think that is so incredibly stupid and, well, I mean, obviously childish, right? You can think that when you're, the mental age of 5, or the physical age of maybe 12, 13, 14, 15. But I think everybody has to grow up at some point, because if people don't grow up mentally, but physically, they'll just be assholes. Either assholes or incredible fucking idiots. Also, if there is any drilling in the background, I am terribly sorry. Because some of our neighbors are drilling right now. So yeah, back to the topic. The general overall choice of growing up, I don't think it is yours. Essentially it happens through your experiences. I remember I was incredibly childish back in the day and incredibly naive. What gave me the push to grow up was my experience in my first relationship. It hurt me a lot, mentally, not physically. Whatever. The main point, it hurt me mentally a lot, and I lost trust in people very, very early on, and also I lost trust in anybody generally. But I found that that was the right push in the right direction for me to grow up mentally, because when you're small, right, you think a very naive way, that you can trust anybody else and everybody is good to you or will be good to you. No, that's not always the case. Most of the times, it's not the case, right? And so that was the right push for me to grow up. And maybe some people might think losing trust in others is bad. I think it's a defense mechanism, and it pushes you in the right way for you to change. Because I wouldn't consider myself to be the same person I was before. Now, that was in 2018, so not even that, or 2018, not even that far away from 2020, right? But in that time span, I managed to kind of get better at worrying, get better at mistrusting, and generally get better at life, have more experiences. The more experience you have, the more it will change you. Or, well, I mean, experience, I mean life experience, right? The more it will change you, and it will. You don't have a choice. But I feel like that's a good thing, because if you don't grow up and stay naive, you are going to get yourself either in trouble, or, well, I mean, physical trouble, or whatever the hell else, because not everybody on this earth is good. I see a lot of, well, I would feel that a lot of people would agree against me, because, oh yeah, I can trust my friends though. I don't mean that. What I mean is essentially trust towards strangers. I meet a lot of people on the internet, and I can safely say not that I don't trust everybody I meet on the internet, just because of how they essentially behave, right? And all of that came from this one little push of, I feel like, it was painful, right? But I don't remember where that was from, maybe some animated movie, but I remember a quote saying, "Pain is the greatest teacher." And I kind of agree with that. Obviously not like kind of abusive pain, because that just is traumatic. And, well, I mean, I did have a lot of trauma after this, but I matured because of this. I matured because of the pain, but I also matured because of the good memories, and I learned to distinguish both of them. I learned when to stop. I learned when to start a conversation, when to stop a conversation, when a conversation is leading nowhere. I learned when I could trust somebody and when I couldn't trust somebody. And generally talking to people felt way easier, because I felt like I wasn't I felt like I wasn't going into a trap right away. And so for all the people that are afraid of growing up, that are kind of in this stage of puberty, going into adulthood, and all of a sudden, oh, I'm finished with high school, now I have to do something with my life, right? It will come eventually, and I don't want to make anybody afraid, right? I don't want to scare anybody. It will happen. It will. But you shouldn't be afraid of it. You should embrace it more often than be scared of it. Don't be scared of it. It's fine. You'll grow up eventually, and it will only do you good, because the longer you live on this earth, the more people you're gonna meet, the more life experience you'll have, and the more you will just feel comfortable in your own skin and actually just, live freely. I think that is the best example of growing up mentally from kind of a push of a failed relationship. Now this can also come from anywhere else. I'm not telling you go into a relationship, get hurt, and then grow up instantly. No, it takes time. But you will not recognize yourself afterwards. It's such a weird experience because you like I cannot imagine being myself. A couple of years ago, I was very apologetic and very nice. Now I know that people are not always going to be nice to me, so I'm not going to be nice to them. Not all of the time. Not all of the time. Right, I see we are running out of time. Speaking about that, we have reached the 15-minute mark. I feel like I could talk way more about this, but we have reached the time mark. If you want to hear me talking about anything else, post it down in the comments. Thank you for staying subscribed. Thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed your time. And I'll see you in the next episode.